It is my privilege at this time to have some little introduction, first of all, and I will let Steve start this off.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone with whom you're all familiar. This is Colonel Broadwell, Colonel Larry Broadwell from Beale Air Force Base, and I will invite him up to share some words with you. I'd like to give a brief introduction, but of course he can smile and wave to you so everyone can see that the Colonel is actually here in the audience with us. So in terms of introductions, Colonel Broadwell is the commander of the 9th Reconnaissance Wing here at Beale Air Force Base. He is responsible for approximately 7,000 military, civilian, and contractor personnel, the people who are here in our community. Colonel Broadwell is also responsible for the Air Force's entire high-altitude reconnaissance fleet of RQ-4 Global Hawk, the U-2 Dragon Lady aircraft. The 9th Reconnaissance Wing is comprised of 5 groups and 5 overseas operations, which execute worldwide missions in support of all 6 geographic combatant commanders with an annual flying allocation of more than 22,000 hours. Impressive. Colonel Broadwell received his commission in March 1996 from Officer Training School, Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. He is a graduate of both undergraduate navigator training and undergraduate pilot training. Serving as a rated officer, for those of you who enjoy planes, in the C-130E, F-15C, and F-22. Colonel Broadwell is a veteran of Operations Joint Guard, Joint Forge, Desert Fox, Southern Watch, Noble Eagle, and Iraqi Freedom. I had the pleasure of meeting Commander Broadwell approximately a year and a half ago when he first arrived, and I was introduced to him by my host commander. And my host commander said, "There's someone I really want you to meet. He's the right guy for the job." Frankly, I didn't have the context because I met a man who was in fatigues with his troops among them, truly a man of the people out there. And only until later did I realize that this was Commander Broadwell of the entire Beale Air Force Base. And once again, he just said, "This is the right guy for the job." And it really meant a lot because my host commander had high expectations of the commanding staff, and it spoke a lot. On a personal level, I'd like to thank Commander Broadwell for making me cool, because I do have a 16-year-old boy at home who has no idea what a city manager does, but he knows all about planes, and the fact that I know the commander at the base through affiliation kind of brightens my son's eyes. So with that, I'd like to introduce Commander Broadwell and invite him to come up.
What a fantastic introduction. I'm glad I was able to make you cool because I can't make myself cool. I've got a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old at home that would testify that I am anything but cool. Mr. Mayor and other members of the council, thanks so much for letting me steal a little bit of your time. I know it's going to be a very active session this evening, so I'll be brief. And I apologize up front as well for being tardy. It has been about a year and a half, and this is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And I'll explain why in just a couple of minutes. What I want to do, though, is introduce myself, talk about some of the airmen at Beale Air Force Base and those that are stationed around the globe and what they do for me and for you every single day. Talk about how they live and interact with you in the community and what the relationship means between Beale and Yuba City, what the relationship means to me personally, and what it means to all the airmen and their families, more importantly, that serve our nation so honorably. So me. 22-year veteran. Steve did a great job introducing me. What don't you know about me? I've spent, of my 22 years, all but 2 of them flying aircraft, which for those that are rated officers is a badge of courage. The 2 years that I wasn't flying an aircraft, I spent a year in Iraq writing strategy for General Odierno, which was very eye-opening. I spent a year working for the commander of Air Combat Command, learning all that I can from that general officer. I am a extremely proud father of 2. I have a 15-year-old daughter who attends Wheatland High School, who is motivated by being right. I don't know where she gets that characteristic, but she's motivated by being right, which is fortunate because she has a 12-year-old brother who's always wrong. And so she gets to correct him regularly. I also have a wonderful bride, Shelby, of 20 years, who's really, for those that have interacted with military families, the spouses are the bedrock of the family, and Shelby's no different for us. And so that's me, and that's my family. Let me tell you a little bit about our airmen. Like Steve said, there's about 6,000, 6,500 airmen assigned to the 9th Reconnaissance Wing. Many of them will never set foot on Beale Air Force Base. We literally operate around the globe. The sun will rise over our base in Southwest Asia. It'll continue through one of our bases, two of our bases actually in the Mediterranean, and continue on to the Pacific across a couple of locations that we've operated out of before setting over Osan, Korea. That's the 9th Reconnaissance Wing. You have airmen that, you know, when we go to bed tonight, they're going to be waking up, flying those missions in the U-2 or the RQ-4, providing information to all the combatant commanders that make us a little bit more safe every single day. We have belligerents on the geopolitical stage. Some are traditional and some are non-traditional. And your airmen assigned to Beale Air Force Base are watching them in places that they think that they can hide, but they really cannot hide, and making us a little bit more safe. And I am truly honored to be able to serve side by side with them every single day. These airmen live in your communities. They spend money in your communities. They go to church in your communities. They attend your schools. They volunteer in your communities. They are part of your community. And the experience they have with you is very important to me. Why? Because I feel an obligation to this community. I feel an obligation because you are part of the experience in Northern California at Beale Air Force Base. And for those that may not know, only 4 out of 10 airmen that walk through the gates of Beale Air Force Base in their first enlistment will actually re-enlist, so they'll continue their service in the United States Air Force. So 6 in 10 will not. For me, that's a fact that it's a little sad. And so that there are things that we can do between what our leadership team at the base can do and what the city of Yuba City can do to make their experience one which would make them want to serve just a little bit longer. I also want to make you aware of some of the activities that are going on at the base. There's a ton. I mean, we have been very successful, this leadership team, in securing a sizable amount of money. Probably I should hesitate to tell you the amount of money, but it's in the millions of dollars, on the order of a couple $100 million of new construction that's happening at the base. We foresee that that will continue for many years to come. Beale Air Force Base, it is time for it to receive a facelift, and it's well underway. I welcome the extended friendship from Steve. I welcome the partnership that we feel, the love we feel from the community every single day. And what I want you to know is that you have a staunch partner in the 9th Reconnaissance Wing in Beale Air Force Base. All you have to do is ask, and we'll be there by your side, that's for sure. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving, which is just a couple of days away, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you do for the citizens of Yuba City and for what you do for our airmen at Beale. Thanks.
Be on the microphone with us, you know, we'll take it out there. You have a challenge coin. Give Commander, and on it has the things that are most important to our community. It has with agriculture, downtown city, Canadian geese flying, our 2 high school mascots, the river, and then there seems to be something flying across the sky. I recognize that aircraft. Yeah, you floated a little bit, huh? Yes, sir. Okay. But anyway, here's a challenge coin for you. Thank you so much. Very kind. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Pillar of the community. I don't mean you're made out of granite either.
Salt.
Testing.